So, Brent, one of the areas that we really talk a lot about in Chi Alpha, but sometimes doesn't sound like a particularly spiritual principle, is this idea of doing life together. And sometimes we highlight this idea that people so quickly and easily forget what you say, but they so rarely forget how you treat them.
Yes.
Right, and that's an important idea. But in the idea of like doing life, like what does that look like to you in the discipleship that you've experienced, and why is that such a core aspect of really taking hold of that maxim and that principle in the kingdom of God?
Yeah, it's great. What it looks like for me practically, it can be a number of things. One of the ways that I would do this with guys I discipled is I would invite them to join me in things I was already doing, errands and different tasks and things of that nature.
Yeah, just
but
the
I would
regular
have
rhythms
them
of life.
do that with me.
Yeah.
And I have a guy that I discipled who he still remembers to this day, like I would take him to go vacuum and wash my car. He just thought that was so wild, that I would take him to do that.
Yeah. My guys always remember going to Home Depot with me. It was
exactly.
It was a thing because I was redoing a house project. So yeah, it was
so
it made a memory.
Yeah, it's memorable. It's very different, I think, than the way we typically think of approaching ministry, which is to schedule it and to have these set times where you sit down face to face, maybe over coffee, which is great. And I think those times are valuable, but life together, it's more than that. It's really unstructured time.
Yeah.
It's time together where you don't have to be together. There's no obligation involved in it. It's just we're choosing to simply be with one another.
Yeah.
So it can involve this aspect of lingering, where after an event is done, after Outpost Live or after a small group meeting, you just stick around in that environment and you don't leave right away. It can be that simple. Right. That is an aspect of life together.
We've seen oftentimes small group leaders be really somewhat intuitive in that if they're effective at their small group leading, that often is almost an intuitive component of their relationship, is that they're constantly just kind of they're the relaxed love relationship space, like that space where there isn't like a strong agenda to this time. We're just, the agenda is to be together, and that's the focus there.
Exactly. Yes.
And so many times, I mean, even I was talking with somebody. I was just coming back from a number of meetings over all week at headquarters, and I was making the comment that so often I find the most valuable takeaways I get are the side conversations that happen. It's in that just free space where there isn't any strong pressure, that things just kind of flow.
Right.
And discipleship seems to just so naturally come out of our hearts if we're filling our minds with the Lord.
Exactly. And some of the most poignant and deepest conversations I've ever had have come out of that life together. Not the so much the scheduled times, although those are important and valuable, but there's just something about perhaps being in the car for a long period of time on a road trip, or where I'm at home with my children and I have a guy over and he's opening up and just feels a sense of safety and being vulnerable. I think going back to the second question you asked, why is it so important to discipleship? Everyone lives life, I think, with someone. Everyone has those people that they just go to. They're their squad, so to speak, or their group, that the people that they live life with, and those people have the biggest voice in their life.
That's good.
So if we want to have the biggest voice in someone's life, which is, I think, essential to discipleship, you have to have a voice. And as you strengthen that voice in someone's life, if you want to do that, life together enhances that.
So a great question is just asking, like, hey, what are the components to my life? And in what areas am I inviting people into that or excluding people from that?
Right.
And as we kind of think through life together, as you go through discipleship, remember, invite people into those spaces. Even if you think they're the boring, the monotonous, the mundane, sometimes those are the most profound at the end of the day.
Yeah.